Good morning. Good morning. Guess whose copy of Golden Sun did not arrive yesterday? I often don't get upset about small things like that don't end up working out because, like, me and my child are happy, healthy, roof over our heads, food in the fridge. There's way bigger things to worry about than a book not getting here. But I'm not gonna lie. I am really excited to keep reading the Red Rising series. So the fact that Amazon did me so fucking dirty and didn't deliver that book when they said they did. Does anybody else ever wake up like sneezy and congested in the morning and then it passes throughout the day, but like when you wake up for like the first 3 hours, you're just sneezing and blowing your nose? Because I don't understand what's going on. Anyways, so in a fit of rage, was enraged last night because my book wasn't here. I picked up an Enchantment of Ravens. Can we just talk about, there's some covers, can you see that? There's some covers that do that. You know what other book did that? Is it The Fallen Gods? I don't know if that's the name of the trilogy. The one by Hannah Kaner. It starts with God Killer. It starts with God Killer, something, Faithbreaker, Sunbringer. God Killer, Sunbringer, Faithbreaker. Oh my god, why did I hyperfixate on figuring out the titles of those books? That series as well has covers like this one where it's like there's a piece of metallic paper underneath the actual cover. I don't know, it's very odd. But it's probably how they get this somewhat like metallic looking. I just don't like it because it starts to peel rather quickly. But anyways, I picked this up last night in a fit of rage because I was upset about Golden Sun. And I am on chapter 17, 222, so I only have like this much left of the book. It is quite flowery, it is quite descriptive and like metaphorical and lyrical and just, it's all of that. It's very poetic and stuff. But ultimately in Enchantment of Ravens, you have this young woman, Isabel. That's not her real name because Isabel is a human in a world where there's also fae. And you can't tell the fae, or they can't know your real name. Otherwise, they will put like enchantments on you that probably will end up being like really bad or very permanent or something like that, because it's a big taboo no to say your real name. So like the town that Isabel lives in, nobody knows anybody's real name in that town. She knows hers because her mother whispered it to her apparently, and she remembers it, but she's never used it. Isabel is a human woman. Her craft, which is basically, from my understanding, a craft is anything creative in its foundation, and the fae are unable to do these things. They're unable to paint, to build, to cook. Anything that could be considered creative is what I'm understanding. She paints portraits of the fae. They love her. They're enthralled by her paintings and how she makes them look. Turns out the Autumn Prince wants her to do his portrait. She does his portrait. In the process of doing his portrait, she like sinks into this like hyper-focused artistic painter mode. I don't know how to explain it. I thought it was magic, but it doesn't seem like that's what it is. And she depicts the sorrow that she sees in his eyes as she's painting his portrait. She actually puts it on the painting. Like, for some reason, whatever she did, you're able to actually feel and see this Autumn Prince's sorrow when you look at the painting. He takes the painting off to the Fae realm. They uncover it, and turns out it's like super bad for her to have done that, because now it's like it's showing a human weakness in him. I don't really understand. The Autumn Prince Rook ends up coming back for her and taking her to the Fae realm, saying like, you have to go to trial because you painted me with a human weakness of sorrow. All right, that's the gist of the book, right? My issue with the book, it probably stems from the fact that it's not the one that I want to be reading, to be honest, but this is a traveling love story set in a fantastical world. That's what we're going to say. Because we're not fleshing out the magic. We're not fleshing out why her painting his sorrow was such a problem. Like, this is very much so, like, you're supposed to be worried about their relationship and, like, where they're going and what happens while they're going there. And we know that I sometimes can't turn off the part of me that wants to know more about the world and the magic system and the types of creatures. And it feels like the author is dropping pieces of this magic system and this world in, but then she's not further developing it. So it's leaving me with this sense of like, can I get more? Like, I want more. But that's not the point of the story. The point of the story is it's a traveling love story. Yeah, I don't understand why her painting his eyes with sorrow is such a bad thing. I don't understand really why. Like, there's a conflict that's occurring right now, and I don't fully understand why it's a problem, even though it's very clear that it is a big problem. It's hot, but it's good. So let's chat finished an Enchantment of Ravens last night. I think I've said it before, but I'm the kind of reader who, if I start reading something and it seems like, oh, like that doesn't really make sense, but that was cute, I can shift. I can immediately turn my perspective into like, I'm just gonna have fun with it. You know, mindless fun. Sometimes when I'm really upset about not having the book I really wanted to read, I am unable to do that with the next book. So with this one, I started picking up on plot holes and I was like, wait, what? That didn't make sense. What do you mean? And then I couldn't let it go. There were so many things that were like said and then never explained or followed up on. And the ending of this book doesn't make sense to me. I'm going to probably give this like 2.5 stars on my Fable. I think if I had read this at any other time, it'd probably be like 3.5 stars maybe. Probably 3. At one point there's like this very climactic moment, right? And Isabel destroys something very important to the Fae. And the way it's described is as though there's like this huge explosion and there's stuff everywhere and rubble and trees are falling and blah, blah, blah. And people are dying and they're like crushed under shit. But then like 3 chapters later, like 2 different people from that same scene with all that stuff going on pop up and they're perfectly fine. And I'm like, I know the Fae are immortal, but didn't you say everybody was like crushed and like gone? I don't know. It just bothered me. And then at the end, and this is a spoiler, so if you want to read an Enchantment of Ravens, please don't listen to this, because this is a spoiler, but I just have to get it off my chest. Because when I finished the book last night, I was like, what in the did I read? So, don't go past this point if you want to read an Enchantment of Ravens. If you don't want to read it, or you don't care about spoilers, then here we go. Isabel falls in love with the Autumn Prince. Obviously, it's a traveling love story. They have to fall in love at some point. And she has a choice. She can either, what is it? She can either die, or she can turn into a fae and be with him. I get the impression that if she were to turn into a fae, though, she would no longer love him or something. I don't know. There's just something going on with, like, the fae seem like they don't handle emotions. Like, they don't do emotions. It was never explained to me why it was such a problem for her and him. You know, like, I just didn't get it. I didn't understand why they, like, were you not going to love each other when she changed? Whatever. They fall in love with each other. She decides, I don't want to be a fae. I also don't want to die. They escape back to the human realm, and then the Alder King comes to get them, and she kills the Alder King in a very, like, underwhelming scene. It was just not... I was really bored at that point. I was like, that's the best you could do right now? Anyway, she kills him, and then the gadfly guy comes back. He's somebody that was crushed in the rubble. Why are you coming? I thought that I maybe misinterpreted what occurred in that scene, but I could have sworn that everybody was buried under shit. And it was going to take them a long time to get out. That's what I understood. Apparently, it didn't take that long for Gadfly to get out. He gets out. She's blah, 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 talking to him and whatever. And then she decides, at the end of the book just ends all of a sudden. And it's like, now we can be together because I'm the queen of the Fae, even though I'm a human. The book ends. And she is not going to become a Fae, even though she's now queen of the Fae and Rook is king of the Fae because they killed the Alder King. They got rid of him. But she's not going to be a Fae, but she's going to be with him. And I'm like, well, what are you going to do in 60 years when you fucking croak? What are you going to do in 60 years when you're no longer? I just didn't understand the ending of the book. I was like, this doesn't make sense to me because you're now either going to die in 60 years and he's going to be miserable and sad and probably off himself. I don't know if Fae do that. Or you guys aren't going to stay together and he's like going to go to the Fae and you're going to stay here with the humans. Because like, she also wasn't trying to leave her auntie's house. And I'm like, girl, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You're either going to go with him and be a Fae and be a queen, or you're going to stay here and be a human and forget about him. I need you to pick one. So yeah, I apologize for that ranty, aggressive rant. I probably should have DNF'd an Enchantment of Ravens. I just genuinely thought, I don't know, like, I didn't hate it while I was reading it, and I really did think something, you know, like there was going to be a moment that I'd be like, oh my god, but it never happened. It says the light was different in the entry hall, and Jude could see the odd green tint of his skin and the way his lower teeth seemed too large for his mouth. I'm trying to visualize that, and it's giving me the heebie-jeebies. They are the progeny of my wife, and thus my responsibility. I may be cruel, a monster, and a murderer, but I do not shirk my responsibilities. I'm so glad that we draw the line at our responsibilities. We'll do everything else, but let's make sure we do the dishes when we're supposed to. That's diabolical. Who is this person? I don't know what I said last at this point. I maybe recorded this morning. I guess we'll find out when I go to edit, but it's Friday night. I just dropped my daughter off at her grandma's and her dad's mom. Not the greatest end of the day. Like, I don't know. The day itself, like the work day, wasn't spectacular either. But the rest of the day just kind of like tanked on me. So I'm in the middle of Golden Sun and I'm in the middle of The Tainted Cup. Neither of those two books should be read by me in this state of mind that I'm in. So I was trying to find something else that was like a little bit more low effort. Not mindless necessarily, because I do want to get pulled into a story and like focus. I just don't want to have to apply so many brain cells to trying to figure out things. So I picked up The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. Yeah. And I don't know. I'm wondering if maybe this will scratch the itch. Jude was 7 when her parents were murdered, and she and her 2 sisters were stolen away to live in the treacherous High Court of Faerie. 10 years later, Jude wants nothing more than to belong there, but many of the Fae despise humans, especially Prince Cardan, the youngest and wickedest son of the High King. Why does that name sound familiar? To win a place at court, Jude must defy him and face the consequences. From best-selling author Holly Black comes the first book in a stunning trilogy filled with twists, enchantment, as one girl learns the meaning of true power. I don't know. I'm hoping that Holly will heal my brain because I feel like crap. It's Saturday something. It is 3:46 on Saturday. That's crazy. I went to bed super late last night reading both of these, actually. Like, I played video games probably till like 1 o'clock. Yeah, probably till like 1 o'clock. No, I got off early. So I stopped playing video games around like 12 something. And I was reading, eyeball reading this while I was like sort of somewhat spectating my brothers and my nephew playing. And I got to chapter 14. So I got a decent chunk into this. I want to look up more reviews of it, but I don't because I feel like that might sway how I consume the rest of the story, and or it could lead to spoilers, and I'm not letting the story be spoiled for me. But Cardan is a bully. I don't know if I've said that, but I don't love bullies unless like they're gonna get theirs, like karma's gonna get their ass. I don't love bullies, so I'm kind of struggling with this one just a little bit because he's pretty awful. He's downright awful. Jude just found out something about Cardan that kind of explains why he is the way he is, or maybe like feeds into why he is the way he is with her. And then another character, Locke, also gave her like a little bit of insight, but like not on purpose, I think, but he gave her insight as to why, or as to like the impact that she has on, I don't know, there's something brewing between her and Cardan, but I really hope that we don't explore that. I want to explore more of the world. I don't know. I don't think the tournament ended. The way I interpreted it, it's not that the tournament ended, it's just that they're like, that was like a piece of it, and now they're going to do like the next part of it. That's how I interpreted it. Well, I guess we'll see once I keep reading, but I am enjoying this. I really like the writing style because, I don't know if I've said this before, but Holly Black is creating this very like whimsical type fairy world, but the fairy are dark and nasty, and they're kind of all bullies and like just not very nice. They're very much so your typical fae that are like tricksters and sneaky and kind of like always have an ulterior motive that for the most part seems to be nefarious. But she's mixing that with this very like whimsical type fairy world. I don't know, like she's doing a good job of merging the two into this like whimsy goth type setting and vibe and tone to the story. So I am enjoying it. I do find Jude a little bit annoying, but I think it's because she's so impulsive. Not even because she thinks before she does stuff, but like she just feels very abrasive. But I don't dislike her. I just kind of am like, oh God, girl, you're going to get yourself in trouble. But that's kind of like the point of the story. And then last night I also did read. This is why I stayed up late last night. I ended up staying up until like 3 o'clock in the morning. It was almost 4 o'clock. Reading more of Red Rising, Golden Sun. We're on Golden Sun. I had to go a little bit slower than I normally read because I was so tired. It was weird. I was like really tired, but also my brain wouldn't shut off. So I was like, let me read. And this is the one I figured I would listen to it and read it. So I went with this one. Golden Sun is so much more different, it feels like, than Red Rising. But at the same time, it's not. I feel like a lot of what was going on at the Institute is occurring now on or Luna, wherever they are, like the moon. It's still occurring, like that shift in alliances, shift in like kind of goals. Like I think Darrow still has the same cause and goal in mind, and he's still doing things for the same reason, but he keeps shifting his perspective on like how he wants to get there and like what he thinks is the right way to get there and how far he's willing to go to get there and who he's willing to work with. Like all of that keeps shifting, and a part of me was almost feeling like, oh my god, I can't keep up. Like can we slow down, or can we just pick one? It feels wishy-washy, but it also just makes sense because if you're in the situation that Darrow was in, I would imagine that you would have to reconsider often. Like there would be moments where you'd have to be like, oh wait, no, I think this is, or wait, I think maybe, all with the same end goal and cause in mind. I don't know. I don't live on Mars, and I'm not fighting the society. I just am like a human being that lives in Rhode Island and I work a regular job. So like, I don't know. But it kind of makes sense with the story, but it is a lot. I do feel like it has been a little bit to keep up with, to be honest. But I'm enjoying both of those. I think I'm just going to keep going, like going back and forth between the two. I would love to get one of these done today just because I feel like it's been so long since I finished a book. I just want to like sit and finish a book. So long. I think I finished an Enchantment of Ravens and Red Rising this past week, so don't listen to me. Sometimes graphic audios are actually really interesting because I don't know that I would have gotten the same vibe from this scene. I don't think it would have had the same impact without the graphic audio. So Darrow and the Howlers are like face to face with somebody who wants to pew pew them, right? And they're like ready, like they're gunning. Everybody's pulling out razors, about to start duking it out to see who's gonna win, right? And then all of a sudden, Severo and Darrow start joking around, talking about some bag and like hee hee ha ha. And I know that the other side is looking at them like, are they crazy? Because I'm sitting here reading and I'm like, oh, y'all sound crazy. It's such an interesting shift in like tone. I don't know. It was done really well. It was executed well. But I'm sitting here and I'm like, what is happening right now? And like in the graphic audio, there's like whistling and stuff in this scene, and the music changes, and it's like you're like transported, but you didn't realize you were being transported. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought I would share that with you. Okay. Victor is terrifying. No. No! I can't do that. Somebody we lost in book 1 was mentioned in book 2. That made me cry. Darrow made a decision that he thought that he did with like the best intentions, and the other person just like didn't obviously feel some type of way. That made me cry. somebody else that we hadn't seen in a little bit and came back. That made me cry. And now I'm crying again because something was revealed. The way that I can feel the relief in this secret coming out. Like, just the all-consuming relief. Sitting here fucking just sobbing for like 10 minutes because it's so good. I think I have like 20 minutes left in the first part of this audio. If you have not read, if you have not read this series, I can at least vouch for the first 2 books so far. Do it. Do it. And if you can get your hands on the graphic audio, do it. I still think there are so many moments where Pierce Brown's writing is telling the story. He is telling this story, and he has me in a chokehold. The characters and the plot and the action and the range of emotions that these characters are feeling. Like, he did a fantastic job. So even if you can't or don't want to do the graphic audio, I still feel like you're gonna get the emotional punch that it is. It's really good, and I just don't want to cry anymore, but I'm only like 50% through this book. I'm gonna cry more. I just would like to take a break for a little bit. I decided to make pumpkin brownies. They're like, it's 4-ingredient pumpkin brownies. So it's pumpkin, cocoa powder, maple syrup, and then peanut butter. And it's really good. It's really good. It's really like heavy and like rich. It's like more fudgy than brownie, but I really like it. I eat it with some vanilla ice cream and it hits every time. I'm gonna take like a little teensy break because I'm not doing well. I'm not doing well at all, baby. But I think if there's 20 minutes left, I think that it's gonna go up to part 3. So I only have like, what, 20 pages left? Less than 20 pages left. The next part of the graphic audio is another like 4.5 hours at the speed that I listen to it. I think it's like another 4.5 hours. So I don't know if I will be able to finish it tonight because I'd have to go to bed really late. It's so good. It's so good, and it's so, I don't know, like every moment is so meaningful. I don't feel like we've had a moment or an interaction that was literally just for shits and giggles. Like, it might come off as more like bantery and stuff like that, more lighthearted, but every interaction, every choice, every moment carries so much weight, and it's like eating away at my resolve. I can't stop crying. In typical Ange fashion, I forgot to record an outro for this video, so enjoy this really stressful clip of me reading Morningstar while I was working. It was intense. I had a lot of words for Pierce Brown, and out of all the characters, there's so many. You put so many in the story you could have picked from, and you picked the one that I cared about the most, and I took it personally. So yeah, watch me just lose my mind reading Morningstar, and I forgot to record the outro, so here it is. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, for watching the video and supporting. I really, really appreciate it. I will see you guys when Vlogmas Day 2 is up and posted. And as always, happy reading!